Hello. This is Troy White. I'm a portfolio manager and investment advisor. And today I have a topic I want to cover about investing. And first off, I'll start with a question is, why do you work? And the reason I ask you that is because at the foundation of living your life, we know it costs money. So what you need to identify what it is you're actually working for. Otherwise, you're just going to be working for the weekend, working to make the money so that you can go back to work. You know, that's that hamster wheel. You really have no direction. You're going nowhere, but you're working hard to get there. And so you have to really get to the heart of the matter and ask yourself, why do you work? So what I'm suggesting in this talk, in this conversation, is that you invest to live. And what does that mean? That means when you work, you need to invest from that salary that you make and invest to live, right? So in order to do that, you have to understand, well, what am I actually working for in the first place? Because obviously you want more money and you're always trying to get a better job that's paying you more money, but why? Why you want to do that? So as a financial planner, I know that you need to start backwards. You need to start with the thing you want and then design your life on a pathway to achieve that, of which working is part of it, right? But you don't want to be on the hamster wheel. You need to achieve your goals. So then I want to point out something else that often people, like you said, like I just said, you're working so that you can make more money. But the end goal that with that in mind is to be rich. What I'm pointing out is you can be rich, but what's rich? Is that a dollar figure? And if it's a dollar figure, what is your dollar figure of rich? Because that's easier to achieve than this mystery amount that equals rich. And so, as you know, a lot of artists and entertainers are flashing money and cars and all of this stuff because they're trying to reach rich. They're trying to reach that goal, and now that they have this 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 income, or in the case of artists, they get lump sums. You know, it's not going to be an endless stream of lump sums, but you have a lot of money on you, you know, and you want to show it, and you want to celebrate that. Okay, now I'm rich, but the thing is, you never really identified what rich is for you. And if you did that, then it wouldn't be about just flossing money and showing fancy cars and things. You would have your goals itemized for yourself, and you would know when you reach your goal because you have them written down and you have been on a pathway to achieve them, and you would know at what stage of the game you are in pursuit of that goal. Hope I'm not confusing you, but invest to live. Don't work to live. And so if you have listed your goals and you achieve all of those, that's rich. So if you reach all your goals that you identified for yourself and you're not rich, then you don't want to be rich. You did not have rich as one of your goals. Because we can define rich by whatever you dreamed of achieving, because that's what you need to be going after, not a simple-minded example of your dreams. You know, don't dumb them down. You know, boost them up, because whatever it is possible. And I'm not trying to rah motivate you. I'm trying to just inform you of reality. It's not like, hey, you can do it. No, I'm saying, oh, no. It's actually a method, a pathway, a blueprint to achieve that, whatever that is that you have on your list. to achieve, and we methodically start knocking them down. You identify what the goal is. Okay, we're gonna design a pathway to get that, and that's what a financial planner does. And so I'm not scared of your goal. I'm not scared of your dream. I can show you this is what we got to do to get there, and we can facts, figures, and numbers, and literally itemize the whole thing. But fundamentally, what's going to entail is you investing to live. So with your salary, unless you like doing that, you just want to keep working until you drop dead, right? Go ahead, do that, right? You don't have to have a goal. You could just, take it as it comes. Whatever comes your way, that's enjoyable, you do that. Well, you're going to accept the good with the bad because you're going to do that anyway, right? Regardless if you're rich or not. There's going to be good and there's going to be bad. So, here's, let me dive a little deeper into what I'm talking about in terms of invest to live. And so with your salary, we want to replace your job with your assets. So I know that when you start off, you have no assets. You just have job. And job is just enough to cover expenses, or actually just under the amount that it requires for your life. Your job provides you with just almost enough to provide you with what you're currently doing. So that means you're underwater. That means you're spending more than you're making. If you're a regular American, right? So I'm just presuming that on you, but I bet you haven't itemized all of your expenses anyway. You're not living on a budget, so you don't know if I'm right or wrong about what I just said. So how do you invest to live if you're working to live and your working is not covering what you need to live, right? That's the question that you're gonna be like, man, what you talking about, right? So what we have to do is get a budget. And the budget don't mean just tighten up. That means just itemize it. Just know what you're doing. So if you make $2,000 a month, but you probably spending $2,500 a month. So let's just say you're making $2,000. We need to itemize everything you do so that we'll know where the money is going. And once we itemize it and see what it is, then you're going to see some areas that you can pull back on. So I'm not saying to go without. I'm not telling you to live your life without the things that you desire. I'm actually saying you're currently living without the things you desire by misappropriating your funds, spending them in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong way. So when you identify your monthly budget, you start to see things differently, and as a result, you will start to be more disciplined in terms of how you spend your money. And the result from that is that you will begin to save. Now, even if you're not saving money, you're going to stop doing the detrimental expenses that harm your budget. So you're going to smoke less cigarettes, drink less beer, eat out one less time per month. So these little minute changes, you're going to get one less Starbucks. These little changes are going to slowly become habits, and those habits will slowly create space in your budget. And then remember, we're back to goals. We're not just doing this in hope that eventually it's going to play out and for the better. We're doing this so that we can pull 10% of spending back and keep that, because the only person who is going to pay you is you. I know you get a paycheck, but you immediately turning that over to all the people who got their hand out saying you owe them. They send you a mean letter or, give you a phone call, and now you're stressed out for the whole month. And so that's why you just paying, oh yeah, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay that, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay that. But at all times, you need to be paying yourself first. Everything else comes next, secondary. But you are the human being on this earth. You don't live to pay bills. You live to achieve your goals and your dreams. You are a vessel here on earth to achieve something. So remember that first. You are here for a certain amount of time. This is your birth and this is your death. You're going to just be paying everybody in the middle of that? Of course, you got to live here, right? But the purpose for you is what you're going to accomplish between your birth and your death. So that's what we use financial planning to achieve. So we need, through budgeting, to carve out 10% of your income. If you can do that tomorrow, let's do that tomorrow. So you're going to get 10% and you're going to pay yourself first with that 10%. So if you make $2,000, you're going to tuck $200 every month. If you make $10,000, you're going to tuck a G every month. So that's how you start to invest to live. And our goal is to build assets. So you invest in assets. We're not just spending money willy-nilly no more. And we're buying assets that do one of two things, or two of two things. They must increase in value and they must cash flow. So what does that mean? That means we're not buying cars that as soon as you drive off the lot, it's worth less than you just paid. And that's the highest thing. That's the most amount of money you probably spent this year is on your car. Add up all them car payments. So understand that's an area right there that is digging in your pocket because America told you to do that. Every time you watch the commercial, with that cool car driving around, but the car is a worthless piece of nothing. How many times have you seen? You could go do this right now. Think about the car that you wanted. You was really like, man, I want that car. But this is about 10 years ago. Now go look at that car. When you see that year car driving around, I do this a lot in my mind, just looking at the Lexus. And like, wow, I used to think that car was, man, it was the nicest car out. But you look at it now, it's a complete hunk of junk. It looks like, like where they get this car at? You see them running raggedy all over the place now. But 10 years ago or less, that was a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car. Now you can get it for 5 G's at a used car lot. So, but what if at that time the person was paying $500 a month for that car? So for at least 5 years, a five-year loan, car loan. So for 5 years you pay $5,000. I can't add that up right now in my head. Let's see. That's so 500 times 5,000. That's 6,000 times. That's $30,000 right there. That's $30,000 for a car. So what if in that 5 years you invested that $500? That's $30,000. Now, when we're talking investments, it's not like that car that's going to depreciate in value. We're talking about things that appreciate in value. It goes up in value. So the $30,000 that you put in investments, if you were getting a return of like 9%, I don't have my calculator right now, but that's what the stock market is giving you. There's not a one amount that you get from the stock market, depending on the investments that you have invested in. A particular stock might have had, a 50% gain over that time. Another stock might have had 3% gain. Another had 15, another had 7, another had 6, another had 4. So if on average you receive 7% return, you're winning. you're winning and you're winning good. So 10% of your income to pay yourself first. You're going to invest that 10% into assets that appreciate. And then I said cash flow. Well, what is that, right? Those are assets like dividend producing assets and income producing assets like real estate. So stocks that pay dividends, real estate that pays rent. We need income come to you, or get smarter than that, and franchises or some sort of business that you invest in. If you have a skill, utilize that skill. Even side hustle money, use that money to invest with. Of course, you can watch some of my other videos on all the things in the world to invest on. I'm talking about them all the time. All right, but remember, invest 10% of your income is a must. Is a must. Is a must. All right, so we buying / investing in assets that can provide income. That's the point. So when I said invest to live versus work to live. So you are working, taking 10% of your income, putting it in investments with the intent that at some point the investments will replace the work. But that means you have to invest wisely and learn what you're doing, right? Especially in terms of income producing real estate or dividend stocks and things like that. But the point is, you don't have the privilege to be financially illiterate anymore. You don't have the privilege to not be an investor anymore. Just buy assets that increase your net worth. A car does not increase your net worth. A stock, a bond, a mutual fund, an ETF, a real estate property, businesses might increase your net worth. They might not, right? It might reduce your net worth. I can tell you that for certain. I don't have that myself. So buy assets that increase your net worth. All right, at the foundation of investing is the principle of the time value of money. So you're investing your money into a business in the case of a stock, but right that day that you invested in that business, it was worth X, but over time you want it to be worth Y, or it's gonna be worth Y. So that's the time value. It's an opportunity cost, meaning you're locking the money up for that for some amount of time, right? But with investments and specifically compound interest, time is one of the key factors in the mathematical equation that results in more asset, an increase in that asset. And so this is why I say you need both assets that appreciate and assets that kick off income. Because the assets that kick off income, we're going to keep investing into assets that appreciate. And we're just going to keep that loop going. You have to do both. We want income and we want so what that means is we don't want money to sit. Money cannot sit idle. Money has to always be working because of the time value of money. Over time, if you don't put it to work, it will sit there like a lazy bum and lose value. As like a person that that's sitting out and drinking on the corner somewhere, we call that person a bum. They are worthless to you. They have no value because they're not doing nothing. Same with your money. If your money is sitting there, it's losing value. That's due to something called inflation. Inflation chews away at your money. So if you don't put your money to work, it's losing, it's shrinking. Meaning your $1 can't buy a loaf of bread no more. You're going to need $1.50. But you had your money sitting somewhere resting. So if you had $10, you can't buy 10 loaves of bread no more. You can only buy 10 divided by 150. That whatever that is, whatever that number is, right? So the time value of money means need to get started now. And it's not, although the more money you have to invest, the larger the pot of gold is. But that's not the key factor. It's one of the factors, but it's not the only factor. You still have time on your side. Regardless, you could be 75 right now. You're not dead, so you have time on your side. So what that means is at the foundation of investing, you need to start with at least $25. I mean, really, you can start with less than that, but come on now. You need $25. $25 every month will develop a habit of investing. And that 25 is going to turn into 50. That 50 is going to turn into 75. And that 75 is going to turn into 100, that 100 into 500, that 500 into 1,000. And remember back where I said, we're going to invest in assets that appreciate and assets that kick off cash flow. So that cash flow is going to keep adding on, and then as it is, the asset's going to rise, cash flow is constantly feeding into it, and your salary, that 10%, is feeding into those assets, allowing you to do these things. And then there's something called the rule of 72, and I need to make a chart to show you this. But basically, divide the interest rate by 72, the rate you're receiving. And that's the rule of 72. Basically, fundamentally, it tells you how long it takes for your assets to double in value. But, that's just an interesting calculation. The thing is, we want to do more than double. We want your money to triple, quadruple, right? There's no limit to the amount we want it to grow. But point is, you need to invest to live. You can't just work to live no more. And I'll talk more about the reasons why you can't do that no more on another video. But the economy is now such that there's no love, there's no loyalty. It's up to you. There's people are losing benefits, and no more 401ks and all of this stuff. So you have to invest to live instead of work to live. And even though you're working now, your goal is to replace the work with your assets. Get started. Holler back if you want my help. Thanks for listening.